Tonight on Connecticut's news station, a deadly fire under investigation in East Lyme. We have the latest details.
Plus, the man accused of strangling another man to death appears in court. What we're learning about what led up to that incident.
And day 2 of the Trones trial has prosecutors focusing on what was found in Jennifer Doulos' garage. We're breaking down everything that happened in the courtroom.
Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, begins with a Weather Watch alert.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Carmen Chow. We are in a weather watch alert tonight. Another round of rain is on the way.
Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now with the timing and the totals. Rach?
Yeah, this is going to be weather deja vu for all of us. This is the third storm in a week, the second rain and windstorm. And while we will get about half of the rain this time than we had earlier this week, there's just only so many places that we can put it. So flood watches are up for the entire state, and it's because of this storm. We've got a little while longer before it moves in. It will be moving in between 10 o'clock and around midnight tonight. So if you're heading out for dinner, you're good to go. But overnight, you're going to hear the sounds of the rainforest as that rain comes down quite heavily over a short period of time. Peak wind gusts between 35 to 45 miles per hour for most of the state, but there could be some higher gusts towards the shoreline, southeastern Connecticut, closer to 50. So some outages are possible, but really the bigger concern for this is going to be for river flooding, street flooding, and unfortunately for some minor to moderate coastal flooding during high tide tomorrow, which will be in the late morning, early afternoon. Right now we're looking good. It's mild. We're looking at temperatures in the low to mid 40s, and look what happens to the numbers. As we head through the overnight hours, they actually rise. Initially, the rain won't be too bad, but it will fill in after midnight and it will come down heavy at times, and then things are winding down and coming to an end as we head towards between 6 a.m. and 9 o'clock in the morning. Taking a look at gusts, I think they're actually highest as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. Then we'll clear things out. It will be warm but windy, and then turning sharply colder for Sunday, maybe even a snow shower. Your full forecast will take a closer look coming up.
Rachel, thank you. East Lyme officials say 2 people were killed in a house fire this morning. And new tonight, we've just learned that police have identified one of those people as 95-year-old Meryl Lazanov.
The flames breaking out at a home on Willow Lane near I-95. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin talked to first responders about what happened.
Well, I spoke with a woman who lives in this East Lyme neighborhood. She says she didn't want to go on camera, but tells me that word in this area travels fast. That's especially true as they found out that 2 people have died in this home behind me. They say that they're all here to grieve together. Fire officials tell us a house fire took the lives of 2 people this morning. Not at all the ending that firefighters were hoping for.
We'll be checking on our first responders. We've already had contact with a counselor to speak with them.
First responders say the fire started just after 8 o'clock here on Willow Lane when someone driving by saw the flames and called 911. The street quickly filling with at least 10 departments worth of fire engines, police officers, and state investigators.
We went in to do a search to rescue any occupants. People were pulled out. We continued to do suppression operations until the fire was out.
The fire chief says in order to get the fire out, they had to bring in a tanker task force, essentially using tanks to shuttle water to the scene since there are no hydrants nearby.
Yeah, so we have a 30,000 gallon fire pool about 4,000 to 5,000 feet away. So we started the tankers and we started dropping hose all the way down there so that we could connect water both ways.
Investigators tell us the fire seemed to be focused in the main living area. But in order to find out what happened, a lot of questions have to be answered and evidence processed.
Part of the investigation, specifically as it relates to a fatality, we normally will do what's called a 24-hour background, and we'll get all the demographics and all the biological background from family members. So that is something that we will certainly look to explore and try to determine if that played any part.
Officials say at this time it doesn't appear that any other people or animals were in the house when the fire started. Only the 2 people who unfortunately passed away. And the fire marshal tells us that this is still very much under investigation. They of course don't yet know what caused the fire, but they say they will give us any updates as they can. In East Lyme, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
The world is watching as the first trial continues in the death of Jennifer Farber-Dulos, the New Canaan mother of 5 who went missing in May of 2019. The person on trial now, Michelle Trones, the once girlfriend of Fotis Dulos. Trones faces charges of conspiracy to commit murder and more. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc has a breakdown of today's events.
The second day of trial here at the courthouse actually involved a lot of time spent outside of the courtroom for the jury as the defense was objecting to testimony he doesn't believe should be allowed.
This is the northernmost garage bay evidentiary zones A, B, and C.
Day 2 of the Michelle Trones trial, and once again, prosecutors turn their attention to the garage of Jennifer Dulos' New Canaan home. It's where investigators say they found what looked like blood on Jennifer's Range Rover and on the floor. But before the state could call its next witness, a former state police sergeant, Trones' defense attorney, John Schoenhorn, interjected.
It's this prejudicial notion that we have to get into either hearsay or worse, junk science as a basis, which the Supreme Court has said easily confuses the jury.
The court taking a long afternoon break to go over case law as the judge decides how to move forward.
He's going to testify, it looked like blood to me.
Yes.
Schoenhorn speaking with reporters outside of court. He says the sergeant may testify about using a specific technique that Schoenhorn calls junk science to identify blood in Dulos' garage.
What you have to understand is the Supreme Court of Connecticut has said is that chemical is so unreliable that it has no value to put it into a case.
At a later date, Schoenhorn says a lab technician will be coming in who he believes will back his theory up. But back in the courtroom, jurors spent the majority of the afternoon in another room as the state and the defense went back and forth on similar issues.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know this becomes somewhat inconvenient.
Meanwhile, reporters asking about the one name jurors haven't heard in the courtroom just yet, the defendant herself.
This isn't like Law and Order or CSI where the case wraps up in an hour, right? When during jury selection, we were very clear that it's going to take a long time.
Now, ultimately, the judge denied the defense's motion to suppress that testimony we're talking about here, but the judge says he does need some more time to think about the nitty-gritty of the entire thing. Now, as for when this trial will resume, there's no court on Monday because it's a federal holiday, and with a potential storm on Tuesday, they're not sure if it'll resume then either, but we will let you know, and we'll be there. We're in Stamford. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Julia, thank you. Connecticut's news station is following the Michelle Trones trial from the beginning to the end. For all the information on the case, download our free Fox 61 News app.
A man has been arrested for murder 9 months after another man was found dead in a Southington home. Today, Brian Seaholm was arraigned in court. And Fox 61's Matt Karen has details from the newly obtained arrest warrant.
Well, 25-year-old Brian Seaholm is the suspect. 55-year-old Dominic Francis was the victim. The two were friends. On April 11th, 2023, police were called to this home on Douglas Street in Southington for a medical incident. Inside, they found 55-year-old Dominic Francis Jr., who friends called Nicky, dead.
You're on very serious allegations and charges, recommending $1 million bond.
It took a while before investigators were sure it was a crime. Francis Shelley's obituary saying he died peacefully in his home. That ended up not being the case after an autopsy revealed he was strangled. And on Thursday, the man who allegedly did it was put into handcuffs.
Based on the fact that he has serious cases pending on lawfully strangulation, prior VOP convictions, and the seriousness of the charge, is going to be set in $2 million.
Brian Seaholm was arraigned in New Britain Superior Court Friday. He was staying with Francis Shelley on the night of the murder. Fox 61 obtained his arrest warrant, which details how Seaholm and Francis Shelley were allegedly playing a drinking game. Seaholm got drunk and blacked out. At one point, surveillance cameras inside the home show how Seaholm crawled into bed with Francis Shelley's frail elderly mother. When police asked him if it was possible he did something to hurt Francis Shelley, he replied, quote, "No, I don't know. I hope to blank God I didn't."
He is currently not working and has very limited to no means of support.
court.
We learned Seaholm has a lengthy criminal past, convictions and previous pending charges for strangulation, reckless endangerment, unlawful restraint, and criminal mischief. Seaholm will be back in court next on January 24th. He's being held on $2 million bond. Reporting in New Britain, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Matt, thank you. Former Derby Alderman Gino DiGiovanni Jr. has pleaded guilty for his involvement in the January 6th insurrection. DiGiovanni was charged with entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds. This carries a maximum sentence of 1 year of imprisonment and a fine of $100,000. Sentencing is set for April 15th.
Berlin police searching for an armed robber tonight, releasing these photos of that robber. They say he walked into the Citgo gas station on Farmington Avenue just after midnight, pointed a firearm at the clerk and ordered him to empty the cash register into a backpack. The suspect left the scene in a car believed to be a dark maroon 2010 Honda Accord with a donut tire on the front passenger side. Anyone with information should call police. In Norwalk, police are investigating after they were alerted a street takeover is planned for this weekend. Police say they plan to step up patrols in the area of Connecticut Avenue tomorrow night, where the event is expected to take place to maintain safety. This after previous street takeovers in the state have become extremely dangerous to participants, the public, and police officers.
New tonight, an East Haven restaurant agrees to permit service animals in an ADA settlement. The settlement resolves a complaint alleging that the Twin Pines Diner required a disabled person to remove their service animal as a condition of service. The diner is now required to post signage indicating service animals are welcome, create a service animal policy, and train employees on that policy. Under federal law, public entities, including restaurants, are prohibited from discriminating on the basis of disability.
Well, just 1 day after the Patriots and Bill Belichick parted ways, the new head coach has been announced, and his name is Gerard Mayo. Mayo's entire professional football career has been spent in New England. He was drafted in the first round by the Patriots back in 2008, played all 8 seasons of his playing career with them, and then has been their inside linebackers coach for the past 5 seasons. Fox 61 sports director Jonah Karp will have more coming up in sports.